Have you been asked for a rib in France yet? No, you're not being invited to a barbecue while doing some red tape in France. A rib or rib in French is a document that you will be asked for regularly for many administrative processes in France. And there are a few things that you need to know to avoid some unexpected surprises. The first step to getting a rib in France is to open a French bank account. If you want to know more about this, you can watch the video up there where I explain how to open a bank account in France. Bonjour, I'm Giga from the blog Expat in France. I am a French serial expat. You will find here information about French admin and French culture to adjust to your French life. This is the channel to get guidance about moving to France and how to navigate the French red tape. You can subscribe to the channel and click on the bell to be informed of the new videos. So what is a RIB in France exactly? First, RIB means relevé d'identité bancaire in French, which is basically your statement of banking identity given by your French bank. This is a form with your account number, sort codes, and IBAN, and some more information. In other words, this is a French bank document with your bank account details. You might be wondering why French banks issue a specific document just for an account number, sort codes and IBAN. Well, this is just the way it is in France. And I guess this gives more authenticity to the fact that these are real bank details. Besides these three basic information that I've just mentioned, you will also find on the RIB the name of the bank, le nom de la banque, the account holder's name, le titulaire du compte, the bank address, l'adresse de l'agence, including the bank sorting code, le code de l'agence ou le code guichet. Also your home address, la domiciliation, and your bank account number, le numéro de compte, and of course the IBAN, the international bank account number, built as follows. First the country code, the two first letters, then the IBAN key, the two following digits, then the bank code, 5 digits, then the branch code, also 5 digits, and the account number, 11 digits, and finally the RIB key, the two last digits. And finally your BIC or SWIFT code. The BIC is your bank identifier following the international ISO norm. So when do you need a French RIB? When you first arrive in France and set up everything, you will regularly be requested this document. So you may want to have it saved on your drive, your email inbox, and also have a few paper copies in your wallet. You will be requested this document both to make payments and receive money, either by your employer or your clients, but also by the French administrations like the French Assurance Maladie that will send your medical reimbursement directly to your French bank account. The RIB in France will also be asked to set up recurring payment and direct debits with energy providers, for example, but many other entities. You will also need to have easy access to your French account details when making cash deposits, but also when you will be cashing a check. The process of cashing a check may vary from one bank to another, but they basically need your IBAN number and your signature to cash it safely. Some banks will provide you with a pre-filled booklet with your bank account details to cash checks. You will need to sign this document, and also other banks will request you to fill in a specific form or provide your IBAN and sign at the back of the check. Now let me ask you for a favor. If you find this video useful and you're learning something new, please give this video a like. The YouTube algorithm will show it to more people. Thank you! Now, is it safe to give away your French RIB? You might be wondering if it's safe to distribute your bank account details around. First, this is a document you distribute only with the purpose of being paid or paying a specific company. The entity will use your RIB to set up standing order payment that will also need to have your signature on a document called mandat de signature. So yes, it is safe unless you are the victim of identity theft and forgery. But the French banking system is very secure, and if this happens, you will usually be reimbursed by your bank. How to get a RIB in France? As soon as you open a bank account in France, you will be provided with a RIB by your bank. If you open your account in a physical bank, you will have quite a bit of paperwork to sign, and you will get your contract, the terms and conditions, and a few RIB slips. And the card will follow in the next few days. You will also be given access to your online banking system, where you will be able to download your RIB as a PDF document for you to save or print out. Also, if you have a French checkbook, there are usually a few RIB copies at the end of the checkbook. If you want a paper RIB and do not have a printer, you can also get them from your bank's ATM machine. Now, how to recognize a foreign RIB, a non-French RIB? If you go back to the IBAN structure detailed before, you remember that the two first letters indicate the bank country code. All French IBAN will start with the letters FR. And since the rise of online banking, it is not rare to open a bank account in France via an online bank with a non-French IBAN. This means that you have opened an account with a European bank. The most common neobank that you can find in France with non-French IBANs are N26 from Germany with an IBAN starting by DE, Revolut from the UK with an IBAN starting by GB, and soon Lithuania with LT, also Sogexia from Luxembourg with IBAN starting by LU, Bunk from the Netherlands with an IBAN starting by NL, or Vivid Money from Germany with an IBAN starting by DE. Even Wise, mainly known as an international money transfer provider, created their online bank with a Belgian IBAN starting with BE. I don't have feedback about their service as a bank, but I am a frequent user of their international transfer services, which I highly recommend since they are easy to use, they provide great FX rate and very cheap admin fees. I mean, it costs about 10 times cheaper to make an international transfer with Wise services compared to traditional banks. If you have opened a bank account with a non-French online bank, you may have been refused your RIB. French organizations tend to prefer French RIB, with an IBAN starting with FR. However, current legislation prohibits IBAN discrimination, and since this European law, employers and entities have to accept non-national IBANs as long as they are part of the SEPA zone. It took some time for some organizations to comply, but this is now the case of the French public bodies such as the CAF, the tax authorities, and the EDF, the national energy provider, for example. However, some other organizations still refuse foreign RIB, even with IBAN from the SEPA zone. So if you don't want to initiate discussions with mail reminding them of their obligation to accept your SEPA RIB, you may want to open another account with a French IBAN to avoid complications. If you decide to remind them of their obligation and your IBAN is still being rejected, as a victim of a violation of the law, you can file a complaint. The offender risks a fine of up to 4% of his annual turnover. In short, you do need a bank account from the SEPA zone in France. But to make your life easier, I recommend you have a French bank account with a traditional French bank with an IBAN starting with FR. It will be easier to set up your direct debits, and if in the long term you need a bank as a partner for your company or a real estate loan, for example, it is always a good idea to have built a good relationship with your human banker. I hope this video helped you to understand a bit the French banking system. If you find this video useful, you can like the video and also subscribe to the channel for more expat dedicated information. Merci et à bientôt!